Hey, amazing people. Today what we're going to do is we're going to look at the index laws for multiplying and dividing. Now, when you consider index laws, let's consider first of all 2 to the power of 3 times 2 to the power of 5. And what we could do when we have something like this is we can consider this and break it up into two parts. So in this case here, I'm going to break the first part up, 2 to the power of 3. I could write this as 2 times 2 times 2. Then what I can do is I can take the second part of 2 to the power of 5 and write that as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Now, looking at this here, if we consider what is happening here, this can be considered to be 2 to the power of 8. But rather than have to write it out in long form like this every single time, what we can do instead is we can work out a pattern to be able to calculate it. Now, in this case here, the pattern is we're just adding those powers. 3 plus 5 equals 8. And so that's what's happening here. So another way we can think about this is going to be 2 to the power of 3 plus 5, and that is equal to 2 to the power of 8. And so that's how we can go about it when we're dealing with these. Now, there's a rule for this, and this rule is usually expressed with the letter A being the base, and it's A to the power of m times a to the power of n. And the way you work this out, this is going to be equal to a to the power of m plus n. And so this is the main rule which is used when you're trying to multiply different indices together. Now, in a similar way, we can consider what happens when we're dividing as well. So if we have 6 to the power of 8 divided by 6 to the power of 5, what is happening in this case here, if I can do the first part of this first, well, this can be considered to be 6 times 6 times 6, 6 times 6. And then this part here, we're going to represent this as a fraction because whenever we have a division sign, it can be represented as a fraction. And then the next part of this, 6 to the power of 5, this can be represented here, like so. And so what is happening here is if we've got one number divided by another number, and particularly they're the same number, what they do is they cancel each other out and they work out to be 1. So in this case here, if we've got a 6 up the top, we can cross 1 out down the bottom. If there's 1 up the top, we can cross it out down the bottom. So top and bottom, making sure if you cross 1 out at the top, you have an exact match down of the bottom of this fraction as well. And you can see by working through that, what's happened here is I've got 6 left up the top and there's 3 of them. So the way we would write this would be 6 to the power of 3. And so that's the answer we've gotten here. Now, another way of thinking about this could be thought about as being 6 to the power of 8, and we're taking away 5, because 8 minus 5 equals 3. And so this gets us to that same answer. So the rule here in this case is if we have a to the power of m divided by a to the power of n, or another way we can think about this is sometimes it's written as a fraction, so a to the power of n, m, over a to the power of n. What this is going to be is this is then going to work out to be a to the power of m minus n. And so this is going to be the main rule which we're using when we're dealing with division and working out the indices.